This is What's Troubling You with
Chantel, hey.
and Charlene. We're here today to talk about friendships. And so we decided to bring our and so we decided to bring our friends on today. And so I'm gonna let Chantel introduce her friend, and then I'm gonna introduce my friend.
I have my friend Catrice Butler. We have been friends for over 24 years, right, Catrice? Because Dion
Yes,
was 4 and so was Aaliyah. Okay, we have been
yes.
friends since we worked with Larry at the
Echo drugs.
Echo Drugs on Metairie
Metairie
Road. I was trying to
Road.
think of the street. All right, so tell them more about yourself, Catrice.
Okay. So when I met Chantel, we both were pharmacy technicians and we worked at Echo Drugs. And we just quickly became friends. We had children about the same age. They're both, around 4. And we just became quick friends. Over the weekends, we would uh, do things with our children together. And I ended up being a godmother to her second child. And just over the years, even though we don't talk every day, I just consider her one of my best friends. We can talk like nothing ever happened, or we haven't seen each other in a while. I just really love Chantel. She has been a good friend over the years.
Awesome, awesome.
I love you too, Catrice. I call her many names. So
Yes, and I answer to all of them.
Okay, okay, all right, cool. All right, well, I brought my friend on today, and her name is Felicia Davis, and I'm gonna let Felicia introduce herself.
Oh, how sweet and unexpected. Hello, I'm Felicia Davis, and Charlene and I met, ooh, about 10 years ago or more.
More, it's about, no, actually, it's about 17, 16 years
Oh my
ago.
God. Yeah, well, yeah, 2014, something like that.
It was, no.
2004, 2004
It was
is
about
when I started. So,
2005. That's when I joined the choir. So it was around
okay,
2005. Yeah.
it's been a
Uh,
minute.
we had something well, you want to tell what happened on the that day?
Well, we were having mass choir, and I ended up sitting beside her, and then we noticed that our wedding rings, the other wedding ring I had, were alike. And then she was like, "Oh," and then we realized we were both born in October, and we was like, "Oh," and so one child, and oh, she has a girl, I have a boy, so we just started talking and became friends, and
They're the same age. Our kids are the same age.
yeah, they're the same age, same age, and
And well, her husband still drives for a bus company, and my
start.
husband was a bus driver. So we had even more in common, and we were again on the choir together. Well, we weren't on the same choir; we were on different choirs, and so but they happened to have combined choir that day. Yeah, so we did. That was a weird moment, wasn't it? I mean, with the
Yeah,
ring, yeah, that was weird.
yeah.
And so we have been friends throughout the years. I think closer today than we've ever been now. We are
Yeah,
closer today.
yeah.
Um, and so she's my morning call and my everyday morning call. And so we've over the years, we've transformed. And so I'm excited to have you here today, Felicia. I am. I'm happy to have you here. We are going to talk about, we came up with this topic called friendships, confidants, and comrades. And
yes.
so I want to give a little brief definition of these words, friendships, confidants, and comrades. And then we're going to kind of take it from there and talk about its importance and what it means to you guys. And what do you think, especially in a time like we're living in now, how important this is and how important it is for us to maintain these. So the definition of friendship is a relationship between people who like each other,
Hmm.
enjoy each other's company. Okay. A confidant, though, it goes a little deeper. It's one whom I share secrets with,
Hmm.
and I entrust my secrets to this person. Okay. And a comrade is a companion who shares one's activity. So really, anybody can be my comrade because
Right.
I have a lot of people who share commonalities with me. With Felicia, I think she's one of my friends that share a lot. We have a lot of commonalities, but yet we're very different. We're very
Mhm.
different people. We're like opposite ends of the spectrum, but it seems like our personal lives are totally aligned, which is different for me.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was different for her, but it was different for me to be totally aligned with somebody in our personal lives. But when it comes to who we are as individuals, we are very, very different. You agree, Felicia?
I agree. I mean, you're only child, and I come from a family of 10.
I
So
was thinking
10.
about that. I said,
Yeah.
because I think I said 9, right, Chantel?
Mm-hmm.
I think she got 9. I said, there's a lot of them.
well, it
And
was 10 and one passed. And so yeah, it was 9. Of course, a lot of passes then. So
right. And see, and that's what I'm saying. We have a different view sights on
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to being relational. And so and it took time to understand because I have no idea, being an only child, I have no idea what it feels like to be in a household with that many people. It's not bad because I believe it or not, I think I've always wanted that, but I never had it. What am I doing? I can't get that. But anyway, but one of the other things I was reading about friendships is that it's important in order to create happiness within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's another reason why I thought it was a good topic because again, we're coming out of a pandemic that caused us to isolate and not
Mm-hmm.
be social with maybe family members, but not maybe our friendships that we want to or what we used to, you know, and how important it is for us to have friendships because it creates healthy mental wellness. It also creates physical wellness. And so we want to be able to dive into that and talk about that today as well. So my first question to kind of start the ball rolling now that we have a definition, why are friendships important to each of you? Why are they so important?
I'll go first. I'm an only child, so I grew up pretty much by myself. Okay. So I'm used to playing by myself. But I've always, even in high school, elementary, whatever, I've always made friends easily because I guess I didn't have anybody else to talk to. And I always wanted a sibling, kind of like sort of maybe sometimes, not all the time, but maybe sometimes. And I missed it even more when I got older because I didn't have a babysitter for my kids and everybody else. So I left for my, so that would be one reason. But I've always wanted a sibling. So I always sought after that, companionship. Even when I was younger. So I always had, and I have long-term friends. Like if you're my friend, I think of you as family. It doesn't matter how long I go without seeing you, you still hold that place in my heart. It's nothing has changed for me. But a lot of people aren't like that. But I think that goes along with me being an only child.
Yeah.
So I think it's important. Friendship is important because it's an outlet to talk to when you're feeling down. Your friend, they know when something's wrong. Like Catrice called me the other week. She texted me. She said, "You all right, friend? I saw you was posting something." I said, "It's all right, Catrice. It was a sermon. I was posting that sermon from Bishop Jakes, and I didn't put Bishop Jakes under. She's like, 'You all right? Somebody made you mad?' I was like, 'No, it's all right. Nobody made me mad.' So she knows when to check on me. If and I think if I didn't have that, I would probably be maybe lost, not lost, but maybe slip into, something that I don't need to be slipped into. So I think that's why friendships are important.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Can I go next?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. So I do have a sibling. I have a twin sister, and we've always done the twin thing. So I've always had somebody to do things with. But there were just some things I felt like I couldn't talk to my sister. We didn't have that closeness as far as being able, when you talked about a comrade and a confidant. And there are certain things that I can tell Chantel, and I know that there's no judgment zone. I know that there's she could understand how I feel about certain things. We had certain things to go on, and I was there for her, and she was there for me. And I just feel like she is that person. You know, I could tell her anything, and know that it, it won't go anywhere. I know that she won't have anything ill will to say about me. And just like she said, we don't live near each other, but it's just like it's always been, you know. And if she was here, it would be the same. But I just consider her family, you know. We grew up together. We in our 20s. We children, jobs, different things, marriages and things. And so she is my family. I wouldn't have any other way.
That's
I feel the same way.
thank you. Thank you. Felicia?
The question was, why did we feel like friendships are important, right? Well, Charlene and Chantel, you both were born, you know, single. I mean, only children, and I come from a family, like I say, well, it was 9 growing up, and to have a friend is totally different from having those siblings. You know, those siblings get mad at you and they'll go back and tell mama. But
Definitely.
a friend,
Yes.
but
Yes,
a
a
friend,
friend. Mhm.
she'd keep it, you know, and both of y'all probably get in trouble together. But to me, a friend is just somebody that you can tell things to, and like you say, don't judge. Because they know they doing stuff too, and we probably doing it together. But
Yes, ma'am.
Charlene and I met up in life, so we were married, settled, everything, and our relationship is different, but we can bounce things off each other. I tell her things from a sibling point of view, and she tells me things from being an only child, and then we work it out and find the why and get to the root of it, and then we be like, well, okay, all right, okay, we can work it out. So, you know, I friendships being important is just being able to have somebody that you can just share things with, and I think it's really important. I think it's very important to have a friend.
Yeah. Thanks, Felicia. I I I think friend because that's all we ever had was friendships. I don't have any first cousins either. So my mother's side didn't have any, I don't have any first cousins. I have extended cousins, but I don't have first cousins. And so I have first cousins on my father's side, but we weren't really close because I didn't grow up with them. They were in Mississippi and I was in New York. So um, all I had was my friends growing up. And I'm like you, Chantel, I have long-term friendships. Um, and I was sharing this with somebody this week about how, because I've always had long-term friendships, when I moved to Texas, I don't think I really understood how to be a friend. Like, because people were always there. I never had to. I'm the friendly one. I never meet a stranger. I never meet strangers. So, unlike my daughter, who's an only child, she's not one. She's just not an extrovert. I'm an extrovert, and so any place I go, I can mingle in. I can sit at a table with a bunch of strangers, and before we leave, everybody knows me, and they done told me their business. And so
Yes, ma'am.
usually happens. I sit down, they all done told me all their business, and we talking like we've known each other forever. And and I've always been like that. I've always been the one who was social, and I guess because the absence of having somebody, and I was a latchkey kid too. So like both parents weren't always there, so I had to do things independently. So with that, I learned how to develop coping skills that allowed me to be friendly with everybody. Like, and so I have friendships. Literally, I have one friend, my godson's mother. Well, our parents were friends. And so she was born first. So I've known her literally all my life. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I mean, my mother knew her before she was born, and then she was born, and 2 years later I was born. So I've known her all my life. So she's more than, and I think everybody kind of said that already. She's more than my friend. She's like my sister, I guess, whatever sister would be. But she's my family. And when we talk and we do things, we like family. Um, um, and I have other friends who I've known literally since I was two. So I don't know how we were friends, but we grew up together, and they're still my friends. One of them is my daughter's godmother. They were triplets, and so one of them now they're twins, but they started out as triplets, and so one of them is Nicole's godmother. So we're friends. And I have another friend, my friend Charlene. Everybody knows Charlene. Charlene, we grew up together. We grew up in church, though. We didn't go to the same schools. We didn't do that. But these people are like my family. My friend May, my friend Jada. These are people like their family. So when I came to Texas, it was a little different because I had to learn. I had to start all over again. And honestly, I didn't do very good at it. So I can say that today. I didn't do very well at it. And
Me
I'm getting.
either.
Oh, you didn't do well either when you moved it because you're not from here either, right? Okay. And it's hard because you're so used
It
to.
was traumatic.
It was traumatic because
Mhm.
I was just like, really, this is all new to me. All of this is new. And um, apparently I didn't appear friendly like because to me, people just came naturally. And when they didn't come naturally, they came with like work. And it just didn't seem natural to me. And anyway, I'm not gonna go into me and Felicia's story today, but one thing I can say, and I'm gonna say this, that I have learned from being Felicia's friend, and that's why I asked her to be here today, because one of the things I did learn, and I think we learn from each other, because we've talked about this, we learn from each other, especially at our older age, because we weren't young when this happened. We were old, we were mature women. Our kids were like teenagers. And we realized that we came to the table with who we were, and we had to learn from where we were, not so much, you know, it was kind of inherited. Your kids and you play together, whatever, you do things together as young people. We didn't have that. And so it made me realize, it gave me I can only speak for myself, it gave me an opportunity to reevaluate myself and what I wanted in relationships, what did I want in friendships on this end of my life, you know and I'm gonna say this. I said, told Felicia I was gonna talk about this. That recently my mother was in the hospital, and not that I don't have friends who reached out. I'm not saying that. So somebody's gonna watch this and say, "Well, I did reach out to you." I know you did. A lot of people did. A lot of people reached out to me. A lot of people talked to me. Okay, but one of the things that, and again, me and Felicia have been friends a while now, so this doesn't make it better, but it gave me so much clarity in this moment that it was Felicia and Chantel who both knew, they know me enough to know that I'm an extrovert, but I'm a private extrovert. I like to be out during the day, and sometimes during the night I got to pull it back. And if I'm going through something, I shut down. I don't talk much. I don't share much. And one of the things, and this is the value of friendship, because one of the definitions said here that it makes you, the people who you have a relationship between people who you like each other and enjoy each other's company. But I think it's also, you got to know when to step back and allow the person to either heal or to have their time or to have their space. And that's what you two did. You two gave me that opportunity. I talk to Felicia like every day or in the morning going to work every day. And so we have a new conversation every day we have a conversation. And so, but during this time, she gave me my space and would just check in and just give me the time. And I told Chantel, she did the same exact thing, checked in and gave me my space. And to me, that's important. And I think in friendships, we have to define what is good for us, because it says it's good for our mental well-being and our physical well-being. But sometimes we have to know what is it that we need from these relationships. You know, friendships, they can be good for us and they can create happiness, but they also can create misery too. And so when you know who you are, and you learn, or you're learning who you are, and your friends can see who you are, that's true friendship. When they can see who you are and give you what you need. And so my new value on friendship is, because we picked this topic before I went through my little transition a few weeks ago. And so it was so opportune, because it gave me a chance again to say thank you, and to also be able to share that friendships are what we make of them, and how we allow people to come into our lives, and what you know about that person, and how you respect that person's space. And so that to me is an ultimate friendship. And I just, yeah, okay. Okay. My next question is, during this pandemic season, um, we had to isolate ourselves. You know, we're just now coming out. We're just now coming out. And the secret be told, we might be going back in. But right now, we're coming out, right? And we're going out, coming out. And so we're coming out. You know, why is it, what about friendships, even confidants? Why is it important? Because we know comrades are people who have like interests, but why is it so important during those times for us to have friendships and confidants?
Because you need someone to tell your secrets to, or your thoughts to, that you know won't blow up your spot or tell everybody what's going on. You need a safe place and a safe person to talk to.
Did
They
you have,
understand you.
during the pandemic, did you have a safe place?
Yeah, I had several safe places. I have several. You're one of my safe places. Catrice is one. I have Jessica. Me and Jessica have been friends since third grade. But yeah, if I needed to talk, I know who I can talk to. And when the beginning of the pandemic, I had my coworker. So yeah, if I need to talk, I know who to go to, and they know what to tell me to come out of it, or if I need more something else, they'd be like, okay, I think it's time for you to go talk to somebody. And they're honest, and I respect that, because that's what I want. We have so many people that don't like to be told the truth. I'm not one of those. Okay, I tell people the truth. And I know the truth can hurt, so I try to gear it where it won't hurt. But I want you to tell me the truth. I need to know the truth. I don't like to be lied to. I have a thing about people that lie to me. If you lie to me once, I'm done. I can't stand liars. So if you think something's going on with me, I need you to tell me, because I don't want to ever find out you had this thought and you didn't tell me, because that'll hurt me more than if you tell me. So I think it's important when you have a friend or you have a confidant that they know how you feel, and what your expectations of that friendship are.
Yeah.
So
For me,
yeah.
This COVID time has been a dark place in my life, because my father died at the very beginning of COVID. So I just have been in a dark place. And I've always been the type of person, I haven't had a lot of friends. And I've always been the person that is like, I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. So the people who I do call my friend, if you're my friend, I really consider you a friend. And Chantal reached out to me. She knows how I felt about my father, and I appreciate that time. For me, it was a lot of reflection on family and people meaning a lot to you, because I knew a lot of people who died or were sick, or family members who didn't make it through COVID. So right now, family is just so important to me. Friendship is so important right now, because we're just losing people right now. So I was able to, reach out to, like I said, to Chantel, and I do have 3 other friends, and they have been strength for me right now in this time.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Patrice. I
What
am.
did you say? I'm sorry. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
lost. Yeah, yeah.
And I just want to say something about Mr. Butler, because I grew up with Mr. Butler, okay? And I didn't grow up with my dad, but after Mr. Butler passed, I had a revelation that God put, and I'm getting emotional, God put strong men in my life because he knew I would need them. And Mr. Butler was one of them.
Wow.
Yes.
Barry, the pharmacist
Mhm.
that we work with at Eckers, was
Yes.
another one of them.
Yes. 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 Definitely.
My
Mr.
friend
Larry, definitely.
Katrina, her daddy was one of them, Mr. Washington. So I had strong men in my life, and I didn't understand that until I got to a point, a lot older because I'm 46, and I had that revelation after Mr. Butler died that I didn't have my father, but he put strong men in my life so I can know. Because Mr. Butler was a phenomenal father. I
Oh,
used
yes,
to
he was.
I used to wish I had a dad like that. He used to check her tires. If my car tire was low, he would be like, "No, Patrice, you taking my car." And I thought that was always what I wanted in the father. But I didn't realize that after he was gone that God gave me that surrogate so I could have. So and
Definitely.
I thank you for sharing your daddy with me, Katrina.
Oh, yes, definitely. My daddy was one of those daddies, just amazing father. Definitely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Felicia, what are your thoughts about during this time having because you had some transitions, some things that go on during the pandemic that took place, and why are friendships important, and why were confidants important?
Well, at the beginning of the pandemic, I think I had my back surgery,
Mm-hmm.
and at the not too long ago, I had a knee replacement. So I spent a lot of time on drugs. No, I spent a lot of time by myself and in the home, and you think a lot. And those phone calls every morning from Charlene helps so much. And sometimes I call it, I get on my spiel, and she'd ask me one thing, and then 10 minutes later, and I'm just like, and then I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I got on my spill again." And she's like, "It's okay.
It's
You
okay.
needed to say it. You needed to get it out." And so she allowed me to be able to vent what I was going through. A lot of it might have been drugs, but I was able to vent things that was going on in my life. And so that's why it's important to me, I think, to have friendships. And it helped us both get through COVID. And I was like, well, I want to go to this restaurant, and Shirley's like, I'm not going out there. I'm not going. We can order some. They can bring it to the house. I'll cook, but I'm not going. So that was the difference with us in COVID. But those phone calls in the morning, and then sometimes through the day and on breaks and whenever she's driving somewhere, she called me. And understand she calls me because I'm a homebody. I'm unemployed, no, retired. I don't know what the word is. Anyway, I don't have to work. And she works, so I allow her to call me. So in between her breaks and stuff, and I won't step on her toes or get in the way when she's working. So that's why she calls me all the time. Yeah. So I want y'all to know that. I call her too. Well, I text her and say, "Can you talk?" And then yeah.
Um, you know, also, we've had those moments where, because I remember you had I am going to share this. I think you had the first surgery in your back. Um,
First or second. I've had three. So
no, 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 I think it's when your dad passed or your sister passed. So your sister passed. Your sister passed. And I'm not good on people passing. I'm not good at that. And I wasn't a good friend. at that time because I didn't, I wasn't there. And
I know where you're going.
yeah, and so I learned because she taught me well. And when her mom passed, I think it was her mom passed.
I think it was mom.
Yeah, we drove down to Mount Pleasant,
Mhm.
and she was like, "You really came," And I said, "Yeah," because I realized how important this is. We came and we left. We didn't even we stayed the whole funeral, but we left. But it was another time when you had the back surgery. This is right before the pandemic, and
Mhm.
we were in Dallas,
19.
right? And I came over to the hospital, and because I was going to I think I had just finished school, and I was like, I figured this out because it's down the street from my school. So and it was like, wow, you did that. Yeah, I did. Yeah. So getting better and being able to do that. And then in COVID, one of the things that was happening as people, because I remember one of my staff became really ill right at the brink of COVID, and it scared me. It just scared me because I didn't, and I think I talked about that a lot because I just didn't know how to deal with the fact that somebody who I see every single day has now walked into our building and thought was sick with something, just couldn't understand why they had a fever. And then lo and behold, they had COVID, and she was out for like 7, 8 weeks. And I went through that with her. Scared though. And I remember talking to Felicia about it and saying, and I think that's where a lot of my fear came in with COVID, because I watched somebody else live through it and suffer.
Mhm.
Even now, they still go through some of the residue of COVID. Um, and then all the people that passed away in New York, because I was getting phone calls after phone calls after phone calls of people passing away. And so one of the things that I talked about was being able to share was my fears, not just the fact of something, that's just personal, but it was my fears that um, and I can say it today, but back then it was just like, who says I'm just scared of dying? But people I knew, they were just dropping dead. And then I would watch the news, and you see all these bodies that are sitting outside of these hospitals. It was just a lot for me, and I wanted to go home, and I couldn't go home, and just afraid to fly, and so just being able, like you said, to talk about those secrets of, especially for me, fear. And I think I was real transparent about not going to restaurants though.
Mhm.
I ain't
Very.
going. Nope, I ain't going.
With me
uh,
too, you were, because
I
I
sure
remember.
was. And Dr. Kim, she she said one day, I guess they were talking about getting together, a bunch of people were getting together, and my name came up, and she's like, Shirley ain't coming. She done told everybody she ain't going nowhere. She's staying home. So just being able to be transparent and just being afraid of the fact that I didn't want to be next. I wanted to live, and I have a mother who's elderly, and I didn't want her to get sick. That was my other thing because I'm part caretaker of her. So just being able to share those secrets of fear, secrets of, and I'm saying them out loud though, secrets of fear, secrets of failure, secrets of wanting to get healthy because I don't want to die in the midst of this being obese. I think I shared that with y'all, both of y'all. Didn't want to be obese. I'm still obese, but I didn't want to be that obese as I was at the height of the pandemic, and I made a decision to lose weight in the pandemic so that I could live. I want to live. That was my whole point. So just being able to have life, and I think we've heard so many people who have suffered, and being able to share those moments with my confidants, because believe it or not, Chantel and Felicia are both my confidants, and so I can talk to them about anything. I think I've talked to them about separate things, but I can talk to them about anything. That I can share about in terms of myself and the transparency of myself. So I think that's important. And in the pandemic, being isolated, because as an only child, Chantel, you can attest, you have children though, you have little children, so they were home with you. But Nicole wasn't here. So we still had to live and still do. And it was some days it was, I like staying at home though, but it was a little on the lonely side, not going into the office or not having people at the office, because that was another issue. At one point, people weren't at the office. I was there, but people weren't there. And so that whole isolation was a bit much, but knowing that I could talk to my confidants, I felt good about that. My next question is, Chantel, you have a question? I'm sorry.
Could I say one thing?
Yes, please. Mhm.
Okay, about the pandemic. I'm a nurse. So a lot of my fears I could not talk to my friends about because people, what do you think about what do you think about COVID? You think, and so I couldn't tell somebody I'm just as scared as you are. Or so for me, the most important people who have been in my life right now are actually my coworkers, because we could identify with it. We all knew that we were scared, but to talk to patients on the phone or to see somebody I knew, I really couldn't express those things because the nurse has to be strong, the doctor has to be strong, and it's just been a little different for me as far as COVID. And I know I could call Chantel or one of my other friends, but I just wanted to maintain my professionalism in this time. So it has been like, I'm not gonna say a little lonely at this time, but we're coming out of that now. And now I can, admit and say, I was just as scared as you all, or I had that fear. I saw a lot of people who I knew died, and what do you think? And had to keep a straight face, couldn't cry, couldn't, my father's sick right now. What do you think? So it's been difficult all the way around.
Yeah.
Kara, her twin sister is a nurse also, right, Catrice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that must be a difficult place to be, because as a nurse, being on the front line of a lot of this, okay,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It must be something to have to carry that. And I always thought about that too, having to carry the fact that my whole day has been about people who come in but don't go out,
Yeah.
or be worried if I, even though I'm masked up and I got on my gloves and everything, what might I still contract?
Well, at that time, I had already had COVID, so
Okay.
I know what to expect. But as far as people's fears, people wanting to know what's next. The actual just being confined and emotionally, just being there to talk to somebody or them telling you their problems. That's been the problem for me. Day in and day out. Hearing the phone calls, hearing people, hearing the fear in their voices, hearing them, what am I going to do next? I mean, that's just been the hardest thing for me.
Yeah. Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. That's something.
Yeah.
I think that goes beyond what friendships are, and that's why I think it's so important. And this is just, again, my opinion. I think that's why it's so important to have support systems, so that when we are our professional selves, at least we have something in our personal lives
Mhm.
that can help to sustain us as well. And one of the other things is, for Felicia and I, and Chantel, to be ministers, to be able to have the spiritual life that helps us to sustain and to be able to talk about, the spiritual being and how you can encourage somebody with the word. Not only just, getting good conversation back, but sometimes we need to just kind of reflect on, and I don't know how y'all feel about that, but just being able to encourage somebody with the word, you know, um, to bring us
Yeah,
back.
but you also know that you have to try the spirit by the spirit. So a lot of these people who I'm talking to and dealing with, they
Yeah,
may not be on that level, and
no,
we're taught not to.
definitely,
Now
definitely.
that's some people I'm able to, because you know I hear what they're saying, but then there's some people who are not willing to, or don't want to hear that word. But I know definitely where you're going with that, definitely. And when I'm able to do that, I can,
Yeah.
but not all the time.
No, for myself, I can't do it at work, but I can
Yeah,
over to friends and
yeah.
get that. And that's what I was saying, to be able to reach over to
Oh
them,
yeah, definitely, definitely.
not just to have a regular conversation. Because again, I know now I'm going to talk about Felicia. I know I can keep cute with her and we talk trash. Yes, we do. We can talk trash. But then there comes a time where we got to stop and we know it's a moment to reflect on that word. And that's what's needed, at that time. And so, and hearing, because I didn't know you, Patrice, but now I'm hearing you. I can say all of us that we all can benefit, not only in the spiritual but in the natural as well, to be able to be encouraged in terms of friendship. The Bible says, in order to have a friend, you must show yourself friendly, and so just to be open, and that's what I take it, to be open, not to be friendly, but to be open to hear what a person has to say and how they support you and how you can support them. So sometimes that's needed, because iron does sharpen iron, and at different levels. And because Felicia and I, again, I said we're so opposite. We're just polar opposites. She's a housewife, and but she has a ministry of, and we've been pushing about this, right? About, she's very good with bereavement and people who are going through transitions of life. She's very good at that, and she's had businesses before, and that's another thing we had in common: real estate, because we did real estate too. I forgot about that. And so, and me, on the other hand, I'm on the other spectrum of that, and being a therapist, I'm constantly doing something else, but yet and still she manages, even though she doesn't do what I do, and we come from different stocks when it comes to that, she still sharpens my iron. And so that is so important, that we have people. And that, again, this is the spiritual side of it, of friendship, because in order to, iron sharpens iron, I got to be able to trust you. I got to be able to trust you to hear what you got to say, and that's part of what friendships do. What do y'all think?
Definitely, definitely.
I agree. I agree. There has to be a level of trust, and
Yes, it is.
also having the same insight sometimes, and you know, and knowing that person's background, because if you don't know anything about that person, or you don't know the full story of that person, sometimes you won't listen. So I think knowing about that person and
Or
having
you
the
just won't
insight into that
understand them.
person, right?
Yeah, you won't understand them.
Because
Yeah.
we don't all make the same decisions, we don't all react the same way, but if you know that person, then you'll understand why they made the decision that they did, or why they had the response that they had,
Yes.
because you know them. So you know when it's malice and when it's not malice.
Yes.
And like you said with Felicia, one time you didn't handle somebody's death the right way, but she knew that you didn't mean have any malice in your heart about that, and she taught you. Does that make sense? How to be better. So that's what a friendship is, and I think that's what it's about. You have to meet that person where they are and help them to get where you want them to be. And if they're not willing to do it, then maybe they weren't meant to be a friend.
That's
Yes.
a good point.
Mhm.
Well, I think, and that's a good point, what you made. And the difference is that you guys been knowing each other for a long time, and y'all grew up, and then we met, and we were in our 40s, maybe, yeah. And so when you're meeting another woman, you like, well, let's see where we can go. Me, I had to learn. I'm an open book, so I just And Charlene was like, so we had to get to know each other better. And I kind of like just threw a lot at her. And she, was like, no. And so I know we said we weren't going to discuss that, and we pulled back from each other for some years, didn't we? But it was like one of those things where I think at that time when we met, it wasn't, she was just getting to Texas and trying to figure things out. And I had been here and I was like, oh God, send me someone. But she was like, ah. And so that time apart, I think we both had time to grow. And
Right.
then when we started back talking, I had to be transparent. She had to be transparent. And then we started growing together. And then she was like, okay, I had to give her a piece of me so she could trust me. And she had to give me some of her so we could build that trust. And then we just start putting layers on layers. And then we thought, okay, and before you know it, we're traveling together and doing things, so, and our husbands, are talking. And so then we became good friends after that. But yeah, it starts out different. Y'all grew up together, but you meet different people at different times in your life. What they say, some people come in your life for a season and then they go away. And I have had friends that I grew up with that I can truly say they were more now acquaintances, not necessarily friends. Because to me, a friend is like true, someone you can trust, but you can walk away from them and not talk to them for years. And when you come back, like your friends in New York, you know that y'all on the same page and that you can trust them and they're there for you.
Right.
And so to me, it's a difference in how you grow together. And you got to know, you got to weed out everybody that you think is your friend. Is not your friend. And I think that's part of the growth process. And you get to weed out people. You to learn personalities, you get to learn backgrounds, where people come from. People don't think like you think. They weren't raised the way you were raised. They would do things you wouldn't quite do, or things that they're doing things that you don't do no more. So, and all of that, a friend, they're few. Like she said, I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. I love that. I never heard that before, but I love that. And so they're few and far between. And Shirley knows that I have 2 other ladies that we're really, really tight with, and they're having some medical issues right now. And I don't get to see them as much and spend time with them as much. I do check on them, but the dynamics of our relationships are different now. And so God gave me Shirley so I could talk to her and she'd be there for me. Wow, it's a transition of life, it just, so you don't get too attached to anything, but God gives you that one person that you know that you can always fall back on and lean on, no matter where you are, no matter where you travel, where you go, what you do in life, your ups and your downs. Now that, and I done took over the conversation. See, I told you I'd get on rants. To me, that is really important, that you're with me when I'm down as well as when I'm up. And Charlene has seen me down to nothing, no car, no lights, no nothing.
That is important.
To now, to where
That
I
is
am
so
now, where I'm unemployed. I keep saying that. It's a blessing. My husband said, you don't have to work. Okay, so to get that out. So, and she knows my situation financially, everything. And so those are the people I think are friends, not just on those, what they call them, fair weather friends, or when the sun is shining friends, but when the hailstorms are coming and grief is coming and life is coming and you kind of crazy in your own mind, and then they still stick with you. They're still there. And
those are the
to
kind of
me,
people who I
that's
love in my life. Those people, those ride or die, that's what I call them. So ride or dies. And Chantel has always been a ride or die. If I needed something or we needed to go somewhere, if we was running or whatever we were doing, she's always been a ride or die. And that's why always in my lowest times. My husband died also 4 years ago. She was there. Um, just if you can't be with me when I'm down, well, should we, but we should be friends at every level. But
Mhm.
for her to be that one at my lowest, I
Mhm.
know she is my friend. She is my sister.
Yeah.
Those are the most important things to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Catrice says, and I love Thomas like he was my brother, because I saw a different side of Catrice when she was married to Thomas.
Right.
And she knows what I'm talking about. She grew so much when she was married to Thomas.
Wow. Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah. So I appreciate him doing what he needed to do for her at that time.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
Well, I just to piggyback off of what Felicia said, I do love that statement that Patrice made regarding, I'd rather have 4 quarters than a hundred pennies. And you're right. And again, it's weird because when you're an only child, you always have 100 pennies around. And so, right, Chantel, it's always 100 pennies around. Okay. But you got to
Yes.
know which penny is the right penny, right? Um, and I've learned over the years that it's probably best to have 4 quarters, But I've always had, as a young person, I've always had 100 pennies around, and I will say this: I just thought about this when we were talking, that one of the things that I just realized that until I was able to kind of zoom in on friendships and having friendships, I wasn't my best authentic self. I became my best authentic self when I had those 4 quarters, just being able to be transparent. And not to say I haven't been transparent before, but it's a different place. And I think that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier when I know that um, people seem to know me and are not offended by my absence when I am going through something, because I seem to shut down and kind of isolate. And they seem to understand that. They didn't care. They were like, well, we're here. We're just letting you know we're here. If you need us, we're here. And if I didn't call in a couple of days, somebody picked up the phone and called me and was like, I'm just checking on you. They didn't give me a lot of conversation because they knew I didn't want to talk. And so, or if I said what I had to say and I was done, I need to move on, and be able to give me that space. And so I appreciate that. But I also want to add that, when Felicia and I years ago, when we kind of came back to be friends, one of the things I remember us doing is not only being transparent, but being completely honest about what friendship was. I remember us having that talk, and I think it was important, especially at our ages, because one of the things that happens in we're not there yet, but generativity is when you get older and you're in that senior. We're not quite there yet in our seniors, but we're going towards it, towards the light. And I think you need to be transparent and honest about what it is you want and what it is you can manage, because I'm notorious. I don't want to hurt your feelings. Chantel talked about just being honest, but I'm the type that I don't want to hurt your feelings, and so I won't say nothing. I just don't. I just back out quietly. That's me, and I think I've done that, Felicia. Right? I just kind of backed
Well,
up.
I would want you to tell me if my wig wasn't all right, or if I had lipstick on my teeth. I may be embarrassed, but if you're my friend, you got to tell me that I ain't up to par. Friend, tell me. I would want you to tell me that.
I think if I feel smothered, and that's what happened, like Felicia was talking about, when I felt somewhat smothered, and I was still trying to find myself. I didn't know how to say, um, you're smothering me. I didn't know how to say it. I just reacted to it. Correct, Felicia? Okay. And I think that's what hurt her the most because I just was like, I'm trying, but I can't do this, you know, and it's just too much, you know, and I should have just been transparent to be able to say, you know, like you said, Catrice, you know, your shirt's on backwards, say something. You're talking too much to me. I should have said that. And I didn't say that. And I created, and I can admit to that, I created hurt for somebody else, you know. And it taught me a lesson that I have to be clear. You know, Chantel and I had a situation, and without going into the situation, um, I had to think about it, and that's why I had to back down. 'Cause she knows I just back down, and I'll get quiet. My boss says I do this too, because he says I just when I have something on my mind, I'll just stop talking and I give one word answers. And so, you know, something's wrong. Something's definitely wrong with her, you know. And so I did. And then I got myself together and I remembered, you know, you got to say something. So I did. I told her, you know, what I felt and about the situation that we were going through. And once I said it, she was like, I appreciate you saying that. I'm glad that you talked about it. And to let me know that because we're friends, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to talk about it. You know, you're not happy about something, talk about it. Say what it is, you know. And in my case, think first, then talk. Don't talk first. Think. You know. So I think that that's important in order to have those friendships.
Well, Shirley, let me say on the tail end of that, once you go through something like that, and if that's really your friend, you observe it, you realize, okay, this is how Charlene responds when something's too much or whatever. A real friend would catch it and they'd be like, oh, she good. She just thinking about it right now. She'll be
Right.
back. She's going to come back to me later, you know? And so that's a part of the growth of the friendship too. Like I say, you build layers upon layers. So if I said something to you and you didn't give me the response I wanted right then, I know, oh, she's thinking about it. She's okay. Let me give her time. And then you usually do come back like weeks later and say, and the other day when you said, I'm like, what's she talking about? So then I'll be like, oh, that I done gone. But she'll come back and bring it back up, and I'll be like, okay, all right, you know. So she needed her space.
Right. I had to think about it because I didn't want to, because I'm the type that will, I, I don't want to hurt your feelings. People I don't care. Well, that's not the right. See, got to think before you say it. People who don't have the same place that y'all do. I don't always think. I say what comes to the cuff, and I say it. I didn't get it out of my thoughts. But other people, I realize, think before you say this because this could be harmful. You know, and I've learned since I've been in Texas that because I think like a New Yorker. I think quick. I think real quick. And so sometimes my responses are just like, they right there, you know, and I know that people in different regions respond differently to, they don't need your quick, sharp, aggressive thoughts. So sometimes it's best to just, hmm, okay, I'll talk to you about that. I'll think about it.
I've had to learn that too because I am quick-witted and I can be harsh at times. So I don't say a lot sometimes because I don't want to be abrupt, and it can be abrupt. And Catrice knows this because she knows how I am, and she will tell you that I've grown so much because my tongue, I used to say it was
No,
like a raisin.
no, but I appreciate that because it kept me in line. You know, I appreciate that. I've always been not the low road, but I've always just been the person that I just appreciate that.
Because and well, a lot of people didn't appreciate it, and I've been told that, and they were like, you know, that could have been said a little bit better. And I was like, I was just telling the truth, and so I've had to learn from that. And so that's why I don't say a lot sometimes, and that's why I do back away, and I don't say. I have to figure out how to say it. I will tell you the truth. I just have, it won't be uh the quick-witted way that I would normally tell the truth. Because I can be a little bit abrupt.
We've experienced that before, not with each other, but with somebody we knew mutually. We experienced that. And I was just like, I better not say nothing, because if I say something now, and Chantel was just like, what are you talking about? She asked the person, what are you talking about? And so we talked about it later. I was just like, nope, because I've learned there's repercussions when you say stuff like that. So so you live and you learn. You live and you learn. One of the things, in terms of the definition, it talked about enriching our lives to improve our mental and our physical health. It relieves stress. Having a friendship relieves stress. Um, I'm going to start this one off by saying that um, over the years, I didn't use my friendships for that. I think, like I said, friendships were more like family to me. So I didn't really look into the quality of what a friendship was and how important friendships were, and not until I got a little older. And one of the things that I have done, I remember I was on a rant when my aunt passed. Well, she was sick, and there was just a lot of stress going on. And I remember calling Felicia one morning, and I talked to her, it must have been an hour on the phone, and she never said a word. I mean, never said a word. And when I got almost to work, I think it's when she said something. I don't know if you remember this. And I was just on a rant about everything that was going on, and I had to get it off my chest. And it was so good that to allow me to vent before I got to work, so that as I serve others, I didn't pour into where I was into them. I needed to talk about it. I couldn't seem to talk about it with a lot of other people, my other family members, but I was able to talk about it to her. Do you remember that, Felicia?
Yeah.
And I was in traffic. That's how I know it took me about an hour to get to work that day. And I was just fussing. I didn't cuss. No, I didn't cuss, but I was fussing, and I was angry, and I was stressed, and I got it out before I got to work, so that I could serve others in my job. And so it is, friendships can be a stress reliever, stress reliever. What about y'all? What do y'all think?
I think friendships are a stress reliever because you can tell the stuff to your friend and get it off your chest and vent, because and know it's not going to go anywhere. And they're going to tell you what needs to be done, or they're going to give you an outlet, or just listen. Sometimes you just need somebody to listen. You don't need anything to happen. I don't need action. I just need to get this off my chest, because if not, it's going to have consequences, and I'm a lash out at the wrong person, or or my response to the next person is going to be orchestrated by what I'm going through. So it's just always good to get it off, your chest with somebody that you can trust, and that it's not going to go blast it to everybody. What you're going through.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We just had a similar situation, Chantel, one morning, and um, about something that, well, I'm currently going through, and that you had went through too that morning.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I just asked you a question.
Right.
Can you call? I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And so it's funny. It was a rippling effect, because even in the midst of my situation now, it gave me some thought. Like, oh, I probably need to do that too.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So it, again, stress reliever. Stress reliever.
Yes. Yes.
Good.
Because it allows you to take care of stuff that you didn't think you needed to take care of, but take care of it before anything happens. And you're going to be stressed when it happens, but you won't be as stressed.
Right.
That makes sense.
Because one of the things that we share about being only children is how to manage our parents. You
Yes.
know, and how to manage them for later on in life. That's what.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Felicia has been through this multiple times, and it sounds like Catrice has been through this as well.
Mhm,
And she has a sibling too she can go through it with. But
mhm,
when you're alone, it's a whole, you have your kids,
mhm.
that's not the same.
It's not the
You know,
same.
and so I know that when I've talked to Felicia, who again is very, very good, y'all. I'm giving you commercial, Felicia. Yes, I am. Very good in helping people through bereavement and helping people through transitions. And so it comes second nature. She can just do things and she understands the process, especially transitional when seniors are going through or when family members have gotten sick and going through. I've watched her help other people and just be there as a benevolent for that other person to help them. So just sometimes being able to help relieve and reduce that stress,
Mhm.
just being there.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. What about Felicia, Catrice? What about you guys?
I think you
For
definitely.
me,
Oh, go
as
ahead.
far as me for friendship, for me, I feel like I have somebody who's like a cheerleader in my corner. I know that I could call and tell Chantel, hey, I'm finishing school, or this happened, or I had some good news. It's not always sometimes about um, letting her hear my problems. Is good things. I know that I have somebody who's gonna encourage me or tell me you did a good job, or just
Yeah.
to have that in my corner. That's the thing I love about, because I know she's gonna be excited. I know she's gonna be happy for me without any ill will or any kind of hate or malice. That's the thing that I love about her.
Wow.
I like that too. I like that because I don't like people who say they're your friends and then when something good happens for you, they don't show it. They don't hoorah with you or celebrate with you. Don't be jealous of me. If I'm going up and you my friend, you coming up with me. We're doing this together. But I have been around people who consider themselves my friend, and you could just tell it was just jealousy, or then you go back and they done what you done, and or
Mm,
change what
yeah.
and that's not a friend to me. That is not. A friend is with you, like I said, through the highs and the lows, and they don't get jealous and they don't judge. I have told a friend of mine named Cheryl. I have Cheryl, Charlene, Carlene, and Charlotte. All of those who are different friends on different levels. And I've told Cheryl something that I won't even tell Charlene, but and I never heard it repeated.
Right.
And she never judged me about it. And she said it was just a moment in your life that you were going through. It didn't define you. It was a moment,
Mhm.
and you didn't wallow in it like a pig. You got up and you moved on, and you did better with your life. And so that's the type of person that I want around me. That doesn't judge me. It's not jealous of me. I mean, that when my friend built her new home, I'm like, let me see, let me see, let me see, let me see. And I think I was more excited for Shirley when she got a new house than she was, because she was like, the nervous part and building a home. But I'm like, girl, no, 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 get this, get that, do this, do that. It's gonna be great. And I love that. I've never had a brand new home built from the ground up. I've always moved in older homes, but I'm so happy for her. And this is what she wanted. And I think that's the way friends should be, good and bad, can handle both, you know, and
Mhm.
they're always with you through thick and thin. So, yeah, that's how I feel. You need somebody who you can just let go and know that there's no judgment. They're not going to try to change you. They're not trying to make you be like them. You know, like I say, we are totally opposites. And I love the fact that she lets me be me. And there was a time there when I thought, I was like, okay, she kept saying, oh, you remember this? Something had just happened in my family, and it was emotional. I think my dad had died, and Charlene said, "So what are you gonna do now? You're gonna go to school? You're gonna take some classes?" And I had to say, Charlene, right now I think I just need to mourn, some
Yeah.
quiet time, and let me get out of this cloud, and then I'll let you know. Because when you lose somebody, you're in a fog, you're in a cloud. Some people move faster than others. Some people it takes years to get out of this cloud. And then some people can work and function straight through the cloud. But uh, she know I had back to back, boom, 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 boom. And not only that, I took care of those people to their dying day. I knew when they were going to take their last breath. And so I needed time. I don't react like everybody else do because I'm on the job. But when I finally get to come home to where I can, my safe space, I may be planting a flower or watering, and then that's when the tears come, and that's when all that come. And a real friend knows when to just, okay, she's having that moment, she's having that time. Are you okay? When Charlene's dad died, I texted her, and we were kind of talking, wasn't talking, and she texted me back, "Who is this?" And I said, "Felicia." And she was like, "Oh." But I wanted her to know that even though we weren't tight or really on speaking ground right now, that I'm here. It's like I'm a part of the room. I'm here with you. And I want you to know that if you need me, I'm over here. Just I'll be over here. And I think that that's what friends do when you're going through something. Sometimes you just don't want them.
Right.
You want them when you look around the room and you see them. When she come to my mom's funeral, and I saw her and her husband, and I was like, and I didn't get to talk to them because y'all know how the service go. And they had left and come on back to Dallas, and that's a good 2-hour drive. So, but her being there, it meant the world to me. And Lewis being there, it just meant everything to me. To see him, to look over and see him, and not even say anything. Ah.
I
So
could,
yeah. Yeah, we're glad to see you. Now we can see you.
yeah.
Wait, we
Oh,
can't hear you. You talking, but we can't. Uh-oh.
went
No,
out
I
again.
had to do this. I had to be here for my sister. She was talking about friendship, and I had something going on because it was an Easter weekend, but I had to. My friends, my sister, over 24 years of friendship. I couldn't let her down. But I'm here.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm glad you're here. Yes. Let me ask this question. What would you tell others to do? Because I think one thing we've established today is that we have good, firm foundations in friendships, and we utilize our friendships and we cherish our
Mhm.
friendships. What do you tell somebody who is on the other spectrum who doesn't have this? What would you say to them? How would you encourage them or say to them to help them to find that friend or to have that friend or what to look for?
Well, we have to see why they don't have friends.
Mhm.
What is it about them that they can't attract someone to be their friend? Is it somebody who just doesn't have anything, feel like they have to offer a person, or they're lacking in a way that there's just some people who just are loners.
Mhm.
They're socially inadequate. They don't know how to be so you just have to like meet somebody where they are, you know, as far as being a friend. And then there's some people who just don't want friends, period.
Mhm.
I've seen people who just they eat
Don't-
alone, they don't talk at work, they're not on social media, they're just loners.
Mhm.
To me, those are the most kind of dangerous type of people.
Mhm.
Don't
Mhm.
socially interact with people, or that's the worst. I feel like.
Yeah, that's good.
Like
I always want to try to stay spiritual or have a kind word or meet people where they are, or try the spirit by the spirit. So everything is different. It's going to be a different interaction with each person. So I can't just say this is the one thing that I would do for that person and this person. It's just, like I said, it's an individual thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
I think I would tell them to don't be afraid to open up, because a lot of people don't have friends or they don't want friends because they had the wrong friends and they were hurt by their friends. And so now they're closed off. But I would say don't be afraid, to open up and let somebody in, because you never know, you might have missed the real ones because you're closed off. So I would just say open up and let them love you. Let somebody love you. Let somebody be your friend. Let somebody be your confidant. Let somebody be there for you. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's good for us to truly be alone, because when we're alone like that, we get in our own heads. And I remember coming up, and my voice is in my head would say, about my siblings and things. They don't like you. They don't do nothing but talk about you. You shouldn't talk. You just shouldn't say nothing. And when you get in your head like that, that's a spirit. And for me to be on this side, to be an elder, where I get to talk to people and try to build them up and encourage them, I see now that what that being alone and being inside my own head, what Satan was doing. He was trying to keep me from my gift, my promise. And so sometimes people, when they're alone like that, they're inside their own heads, and they see things as people are always trying to hurt me or do something to me, or and it's not true. That's the story that you're writing for yourself. The bishop would say that you believe in your own story. So I like you think just give it a chance to open up, to be cordial. I've gotten on the elevators at going to the doctors and stuff and say, good morning, and nobody say anything. And I laugh because I was like, they having a bad day. But
I don't laugh. I say it again. I say, good morning. I'm make you go speak to me.
Yeah.
Same here.
I don't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. I just laugh and I just say, okay, but you got to learn. I've been walked into a room and said things and hey, and people were just like, and I was like, okay, we Texas people, we just really friendly. I mean, I'm from the country, so Mount Pleasant, a little small town, and I was very friendly when I come to Dallas. Hey, how are you? Because that's the way we were. Good morning. How are you? How's your day? So I think some people, like you said, have been hurt, abused, and some people have, for lack of a better word, ostracized other people, and the circle got smaller and smaller till nobody wanted to be around them. Nobody wants to be around somebody who's always whining and complaining. Oh, I'm so sick. I'm this. I'm that. I'm that. And then on the other spectrum, nobody wants to be around anybody. Girl, I bought me this purse and I bought that and I went here and I went there. You run people away. So as Shirley said, to have a friend, one must show themselves friendly. So it's not about you all the time either. That one-sided friend stuff. I had a friend once that everywhere we went, we had to go in her car. She had to do all the driving and all of that. And that just kind of drove me crazy. I thought it was weird. I mean, I'm like, we can't go on this day. We got to go on that day. And I was like, I'm not finna get caught up in that time zone. So, kind of pulled away from that. And I think it takes a lot of wisdom too to see, watch people, learn them, and know if y'all a good fit, and be okay to walk away.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I am. I know I got all off subject again, but
You're
that's
right.
what I do.
You're right.
I agree with all of you. I just think that people who don't have friendships, and you said this already, but what the scripture says, in order to have a friend, you must show yourself friendly.
Mhm.
But sometimes you have to want to be friendly. You have to want to push past whatever the problems were before, whatever they were that put
Mm-hmm.
on having this or having or wanting to be lonely or being lonely. You got to be able to push past that. And
Mm-hmm.
if you want to have somebody in your life, you got to be able to be transparent and be honest with yourself first, not just with them, but be honest with yourself first. What do I need to do to be a friend? What do I
All
need
right.
to do to have somebody in my life who can be a can be a confidant? But I think before we can be a confidant, we have to be a comrade, right?
Right. Right.
Likes. We have to have some activities that we can do together, because if we can't do anything together, we probably won't be together. And
Right. Right.
got to have some activities that we can come together and say we have some likeness, and that's what I enjoy about Felicia, is to be able to, because we're so opposite, but yet we have so many other likes. So we
Mm-hmm.
can travel together, we can do things together. Even though I wasn't as mobile before in our trip, I wasn't as mobile, but she had patience with me because I wasn't as mobile. I'm mobile now, but so I'm ready for the next trip. And so, but being able to do that, you have to, again, be honest and be transparent with the things I can do and things I can't do, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I think it's about just being honest with yourself and just wanting that I have to want to have friends in my life. I got to want to have these people in my life in order for me to have them, in order for God to send them to me. I
Mm-hmm.
got to want that.
Right. Correct. So it is 4:21. As we wrap up, is there anything else anyone would like to say?
I just want to appreciate Catrice and Felicia for coming out and just being transparent and letting us kind of share all our business.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Catrice and Miss Felicia, for coming out and talking to us and sharing about our friendships. And Catrice, girl, you're looking more and more like Kara.
We
I
can't
can't hear
hear.
you. I can't hear you, Catrice.
Can't hear.
Pretty one.
Huh? What's she? Oh, you're the pretty one. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna show Kara this video.
They identify.
Yes.
Oh, they
And
are.
I used to be able to tell Catrice because she looked a little bit different to me, but now she's starting to look like Kara as she get older, just like Kara. Can't hear you, Mama. She just a talking. All right, there you are. Uh-oh. Wait, it went out again, Catrice. Catrice, she just talking. It went out again. We
Like I
can't hear you.
said,
Oh,
can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm in my car and it's going back and forth, but
Oh,
I
okay.
really appreciate y'all inviting me on this platform to talk about friendship. Now at this day and time, we really do need friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been in a season of restoration and healing because of my husband died, and I fell off with as far as friendships because I was in a dark place. But I know that wasn't the best thing. I just felt like I just really didn't have any encouraging words for people because I was feeling so depressed and so emotionally just battled. But I know that that wasn't a good thing, and I should have reached out more to my friends. But now I'm not in that season, and I want to start back with my
Mm-hmm.
friendships. And I feel like this is a good place to start with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But I'm always here.
I know you are. I know you are.
All
And I
right,
love
so
you.
I love you too, Mama. I love you too.
I-
So, all right. So we're gonna be ending, y'all. So, any words of wisdom, Felicia, before we go?
Like always, just be open and honest and be true to
Mhm.
yourself.
Mhm.
And I don't want to go there, but for me, what gave me freedom with my life,
Mm-hmm.
and this is across the board, and it may not mean anything to do with what we're saying, but once I learned that God was all knowing and all powerful and ever present, it gave me
Mhm.
freedom from people and
Mm-hmm.
judgment
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
things, because I
Mhm.
knew that if I couldn't hide it from God, your
Mhm.
opinion doesn't matter for me.
Mhm.
And
All
I'm
right.
made in God's image. And he knew me before I was out of my mother's womb. So
Yes.
I'm free.
You're free.
And everybody should be free to enjoy life, to live it to the fullest, and be
Mhm.
happy. And don't ever let anybody put you in their box
Mhm.
or tell you how long to grieve or tell you when to be happy or that you are too big or too little or too anything.
That's
Because
right.
God already knew. See, I'm here to
Yeah.
please him and
That's
nobody
right.
else.
That's
That's it.
right.
So
That's
when
it.
you get that freedom in your heart and people say what they say, like I say, I laugh. That's why I laugh. Because I know whatever's going on with them doesn't have anything to do with me.
Just do with me.
That's right.
That's
So,
That's right.
That's
if
exactly
that
right.
helps anybody.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank y'all.